Hello and welcome back to the Thoughtful Hour series here on YouTube. This is day 12 of our reading from the book Message from Calvary. When Jesus came into the world, Satan's power was turned against him. From the time when he appeared as a babe in Bethlehem, the usurper worked to bring about his destruction. In every possible way, he sought to prevent Jesus from developing a perfect childhood, a faultless manhood, a holy ministry, and an unblemished sacrifice. But he was defeated. He could not lead Jesus into sin. He could not discourage him or drive him from a work he had come on earth to do. From the desert to Calvary, the storm of Satan's wrath beat upon him, but the more mercilessly it fell, the more firmly did the Son of God cling to the hand of his Father and press on in the blood-stained path. All the efforts of Satan to oppress and overcome him only brought out in a purer light his spotless character. All heaven and the unfallen worlds had been witnesses to the controversy. With what intense interest did they follow the closing scenes of the conflict! They beheld the Savior enter the Garden of Gethsemane, his soul bowed down with the horror of a great darkness. They heard his bitter cry, "Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me." Matthew 26:39. As the Father's presence was withdrawn, they saw him sorrowful, with a bitterness of sorrow exceeding that of the last great struggle with death. The bloody sweat was forced from his pores and fell in drops upon the ground. Thrice the prayer for deliverance was wrung from his lips. Heaven could no longer endure the sight, and a messenger of comfort was sent to the Son of God. Heaven beheld the victim betrayed into the hands of the murderous mob, and with mockery and violence hurried from one tribunal to another. It heard the snares of his persecutors because of his lowly birth. It heard the denial with cursing and swearing by one of his best-loved disciples. It saw the frenzied work of Satan and his power over the hearts of men. Oh, fearful scene! The Savior seized at midnight in Gethsemane, dragged to and fro from palace to judgment hall, arraigned twice before the priests, twice before the Sanhedrin, twice before Pilate, and once before Herod, mocked, scourged, condemned, and led out to be crucified, bearing the heavy burden of the cross amid the wailing of the daughters of Jerusalem and the jeering of the rabble. Heaven viewed with grief and amazement Christ hanging upon the cross, blood flowing from his wounded temples and sweat tinged with blood standing upon his brow. From his hands and feet the blood fell, drop by drop, upon the rock drilled for the foot of the cross. The wounds made by the nails gaped as the weight of his body dragged upon his hands. His labored breath grew quick and deep as his soul panted under the burden of the sins of the world. All heaven was filled with wonder when the prayer of Christ was offered in the midst of his terrible suffering. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Luke 23:34. Yet there stood men, formed in the image of God, joining to crush out the life of his only begotten Son. What a sight for the heavenly universe. Here ends the reading for day 12. One point that I would like to highlight from today's reading comes from the beginning, when we read that Satan's power was turned against Christ from the very first time he appeared on earth. Satan was determined to prevent Christ from fulfilling his mission. And he is no less determined to prevent you, to prevent me from receiving salvation full and free and becoming a partaker of the nature of Christ. He is no less determined. But I love how we read that Christ did not falter. And the more pressure he received, we are told that the more mercilessly the wrath of Satan fell on Christ, the more firmly did Christ cling to the hand of his Father and press on in the blood-stained path. All the efforts of Satan to oppress and overcome him only brought out in a purer light his spotless character. What a wonderful testimony. The more Satan puts pressure on us to prevent us, to oppose us, to oppress us, the more we are to, by faith, cling to God and continue on the path, remembering that he will not oppose you except you be on the right path. He does not oppose those who are following him. He does not make their lives more difficult. It's only those who are doing what is right and pleasing in God's sight that awaken Satan's wrath. And that is where we will end for today. Thank you for listening, and please be sure to return to listen to Day 13.